Hello again, welcome back to my garage for part 2 of learning how to high step. There's a lot going on this week in slow with, band, and we're just finishing up stations, so I thought I should make another video so you all can move forward and continue to learn stations. So let's start with a little review of kind of the technique and what we learned in the last one, and then we can jump into the next steps of learning this final station. So, to review the technique, start and set, feet parallel, pop the knee up, toe in the ground, rotate from the hip, straight up to your thighs parallel with the ground. Right here is a 120-degree angle, your toe is pointed, and everything's nice, even and controlled. Your upper body is vertical, your hands are down by your side. Put that right back down, switch feet, rotate from the hip, same thing, 120 degrees, toes pointed, right back down, and stop. So that's the basic intro. You can do that 3-count exercise you did before to kind of get yourself used to that technique again, but we're going to jump straight into getting away from that transition count and making it more fluid. And so for this, instead of having a specific count of being here and then switching, that turns into one fluid motion. So if you can think of it being very slowly now, you have 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So you can see this transition. When it's a slow tempo, it's not that difficult, but that's just one fluid motion. Now that we're doing kind of more structured counts, it's important to discuss how we start. If you saw me doing that with the counting, the counts or the beats are when you place your foot down. Because there's so much travel time, we actually have a full count of prep. So when I count people off, it goes like this: 5, 6, 7, up, 1, right? So you get a full count on that 8 of bringing your foot up so you can land it again on 1. So this takes a couple just to kind of get into your brain again. So think 5, 6, 7, up. One more time. 5, 6, 7, up. Right? So then the full 8 counts in there would be 5, 6, 7, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, close. Another interesting point is the final step needs to be an important one. That's a common thing that the last one gets forgotten, right? So, you have your 1, that last count with the left foot step needs to be full all the way up and all the way back down to maintain the technique all the way through. So let's start kind of working up to a working tempo. There's kind of 2 tempos to do this at. There's a fast and there's a slow. The middle tempos are surprisingly difficult. I'd recommend, if you're practicing it slow to really understand the technique and do everything right, start at about 80 BPM. It's a nice pace for doing it slowly to really understand that technique and watch yourself and do it right. When you start going fast, jump all the way up to like 140, 160. The 100 to 120 range is just unnecessarily difficult. And that's because the technique changes a little at upper tempos, because the transition stops being a smooth transition and starts being kind of a hop, right? You're here and you're immediately there, right? I'm kind of exaggerating because it's difficult to hop slowly, but once you get going fast, there's a hop. So reps are definitely important with this. Let's do a couple reps of around 80. I brought a little metronome out so I can actually have my tempos correctly this time. So 80 ain't too fast. Right there. All right. 5, 6, 7, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, step and close. 8 counts, so one more time. 5, 6, 7, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, step, and close. Getting that comfortable is very important before we get into the higher tempo. But before we really start going fast, we're going to add one more thing. With us going quickly, there is an additional horn swing. If you are a trombone player or a tuba player, skip this section entirely. You do not swing. Everyone else, this is my fake instrument. It's part of my roommate's weight set. I'm a saxophone player, if that's any help. So you're in your carry right here, and then you swing your instrument left and right with this technique. So when you bring your left foot up to start, the instrument goes over the foot, right? And so when you're thinking of that start, that's where you get the pattern started, and so that's where it's important. So 5, 6, 7, up, right? That up and over technique. 5, 6, 7, up, 1, right? So then slowly you just get this swing. It's not a huge swing. It's not a full 90. It's maybe a 45 total degrees. Try to rotate on your elbow like this, right? Don't try to go like that. If your arm comes out, you end up losing balance. So keeping that arm tucked in, especially important for saxophone players out there, but other big instruments too, for sure. But keeping that nice and tucked into there helps with that swing. I don't think I'll be using this for the examples here. I'll just kind of have my arm out like this to kind of mimic it. That's pretty much the best way to practice if you don't want to bring out your instrument. But let's do 1 or 2 reps with that swing to get us comfortable in that repetition. Ooh, back to our metronome. 5, 6, 7, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, step, and close. All right. Okay, so that's kind of getting comfortable with slow tempo. Let's jump up to something a little faster. Let's bump it up to maybe, thinking 140, maybe 150. Let's see. Oh, let's mention them. 152 is its only option. Cool. So, much faster. So this difference, I think first thing you gotta do is just watch it. 5, 6, 7, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I gotta do that much faster. It's hard at this tempo. It really is. All right, there we are. 184. It's hard to do at the middle tempo. 5, 6, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woo! It's fast. So it really is hard. And I've been doing this for years, and my technique, it declines as you go faster. It does. That's just an inevitability. But being able to recognize what the technique is supposed to be makes when you're going fast reasonably well, right? My leg angle probably wasn't perfect. My toes probably weren't perfectly pointed, but you get close. This faster tempo is very tiring. So it takes reps, but also breaks to get this being comfortable. It feels very strange. It really does. But doing it a lot of times and recording yourself doing it, I think helps a lot to understanding what you're supposed to be doing. Because I can't see any of you and give you direct feedback, unless you email me, you should totally email me. I got no emails last time. I was so sad. I had no one to assist. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. But general tips and common problems people have when this goes really fast is people tend to lead with the knees, so their technique turns into this. It is not that, right? If your knees go up, you lose this angle, and you end up overshooting, actually, like that, right? That's above parallel. So think of, instead of kneeing, think of kicking with your laces, right? Like that example we did before with putting something right here and then kicking it. That helps keep your not knees leading, but your feet out and pointed. Leaning back is a very common thing to counterbalance, and you end up kind of doing this weird, like, drum major counterbalance thing. So be careful of trying to keep your upper body relatively straight. Watch where your hands end up, actually. Sometimes hands start wandering out like this because it's easier to balance like that. It's a rare thing, but it certainly happens. Don't forget to breathe. It's tiring to sit there and do it. So be consciously breathing in, 2 counts in, 2 counts out, 2 counts in, 2 counts out, right? Or if you're going faster, 4 counts in, 4 counts out, right? But make sure to get some air in there because it is really tiring. Don't hold your breath. It's not a sprint. Let's see. I wrote down some other comments. Be careful you're not wandering. When you're doing it in place, make sure not to wander forward just a little bit. That happens sometimes. When we start moving, that's certainly not as relevant, but moving kind of comes naturally once you get this technique down. I know I'm kind of just rambling and giving as many tips as I can, but it's hard to give feedback when you can't see what people are doing. So I'm just trying to give as much advice as I can that people can kind of catch on to. So I think that's all I have for now. Practice it slow, practice it fast, get a good amount of reps in, and I think that's your best shot. Good luck everyone out there. Hopefully I'll see some of you in winter. That would be awesome. If not, I will see you on Zoom. Hopefully that would be great. And I hope you're enjoying band so far. Bye.